Hello all, and welcome to the next video here in the Onion Man's Rooftop to a cow caravan of treasure. Sometimes barred to the street continues as it always does, and we are here with another journey into monthlies. We've got our Midtown Comics order here. So yeah, these are going to be my comic books for the month of December. I know it's January, but if you've never seen my channel before, then you know that, or if you have seen it before, then you know that I order my comics at the end of the month. So usually end of December, early January, I get the comics for the previous month. So these are December's, but I get them at the end of December. Takes a week or two to get here, so there you go. But yeah, we got them, so pretty excited here. I think the lineup hasn't really changed much. We'll kind of dig in here. Every month I tend to kind of forget what I've dropped and what I haven't until I keep them all on my phone, like, oh, here's what I have, and here's what I dropped, and here's what don't go near this one. So it's all kind of a thing. But I get my comics from Midtown. If I'm ordering trades, I'll try to do instocktrades.com, but most of the time I'm getting my monthlies from Midtown, so yay. Let me go ahead and just get into this real quick. Try to keep this video hopefully under 10 minutes. And yeah. I'm trying to remember if I decided to keep getting Batman Off-World. I don't think so. I think that first one was a little too wonky to me. We've got our good old Midtown brown bag. Fantastic. It's a SoulCon reference. Anyway. Old SoulCon at that, like SoulCon. Gosh, I'm trying to think of all the different intros I've seen in like old Grind Time videos. SoulCon versus Amazing Crack? Was it AC? I think it's Amazing Crack. Yeah, and he makes fun of him because he couldn't get a bus or whatever. Anyway, I've seen my fair share of Grind Time, King of the Dot, etc. Okay. Alright. So, pretty straightforward. We just go through, take a look at what comics we got for the month, and then sort of pick the best cover at the end. So we got Shazam number 6. The Gods Must Die. Okay. I'm finally excited to kind of get past the whole ape planet thing. Like, there's a bit of a, let's just be real here, it's a bit of a Planet of the Apes homage. I know they were kind of going for the old quirky stuff from the old Wiz Comics time, and it was good for what it was, but I'm happy that we're finally moving into more, I don't want to say serious per se, but just more stakes, you know, more at hand. So that's nice to see that kind of finally moving forward. It's a good book. Mark Waid knows what to do with the character, so it's not bad or anything. It's just kind of, that first story arc was just like really prodding. Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos. Yeah, this book is not great. I'm not going to try to lie to you and tell you it's great, but it's fun. It's just a lot of B horror fun, B movie horror fun. I like this cover too. This is actually a really smooth looking cover. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out who that is. It's not. Does Marvel have an Enchantress? That's who that's giving me a vibes of, is like the DC Enchantress. Either way, really cool cover. I like that. It's just like really well drawn. She is specifically. We got Daredevil number 4. This is not a great cover. I don't know what's going up here. Okay. Yeah. Daredevil just, there's something up here. He's got no neck. And I don't know what's going on with Bullseye. This is like the first time I've seen one of these Daredevil covers, and I'm just like, yo, that's bad. So either way, Ahmed's Daredevil run has been off to a pretty solid start. We'll see if he can reach the Chip Darsky levels of greatness for Daredevil, or Mark Waid's levels. But, you know, right now it's sitting at that, like, Charles Soule level. So, there you go. That's a weird cover. I don't know what was up with that. Looks like we got one that's backwards. Gotta love these backwards covers, man. Oh, that is why. Okay. So I went ahead and picked this up just because I thought the idea of it was kind of cool. And I can't remember if we've ever actually seen it before. But I picked up the little Robin Lives book. This is written by Jim Starlin. If you're not familiar, Jim Starlin wrote the original Death of the Family, and where Jason Todd was killed by the Joker. And it was a fan vote. So if you're not familiar with that story, the fans at the time got to write in or call in, I think it was a call in, and vote on if Jason Todd would die, because he was that kind of divisive of a character. And as Robin, people still loved Dick Grayson and all that stuff. So there was a call in to vote whether you wanted Jason Todd to die or not. And the overwhelming, I think it was like overwhelmingly they wanted him to die, and because they just didn't like him. So that's how Death in the Family came about. Well, this is the alternate version of that. This is Robin Lives, written by Jim Starlin. So it's, if you're reading Death in the Family, it tells you right here, book 3 of 4. My issue with this is that it's a 4-issue book. I feel like you would have to have a book 4 to finish that story. Like, it wouldn't just end here at 3. Unless it does. Unless the whole point is that, like, it would have ended at 3 if he lived. But, I don't know. It's a wacky idea. It's gimmicky. It's DC trying to get some cheap money. And it worked. On me, at least. And it's a pretty old school cover, so not bad. And, I mean, that's the original cover. They just changed the Robin Lives thing, you know. Marvel Zombies, Black, White, and Blood, number 3. This has actually been a pretty fun little book. It's a little anthology Marvel Zombie story, where you can just kind of go and read random one-off Marvel stories. There's different writers. The regular cover for this was not like the others, so that's why I got this one, the variant cover. This is more in line with what the series has been. You got like Zombie, Luke Cage, Black Widow, and Hawkeye over here. It's pretty cool. It looks really cool. Specifically Power Man Luke Cage, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, the regular cover was like a weird kind of chibi anime cartoony cover. I don't know why that one just changed all of a sudden, but this was the B variant, the B cover, and it's just like the other one, so I was happy that it was out there. I like these covers. They look really cool. Seeing characters all zombified and gnarly looking, it's really cool. So, good book if you're a fan of Marvel Zombies. I know it's not for everybody, but I like the Marvel Zombies. Immortal Thor, number 5. Al Ewing's Immortal Thor has been pretty good. It hasn't, I mean, I know we're only 5 issues in, so I'm not trying to give lofty expectations here. But it's, like, obviously going into it, it's not the first 5 issues of Jason Aaron's run, but it's probably better than, I'm just going to say, it's better than Donny Cates' run. I like Donny Cates' run, that first arc, the Dark Winter or Black Winter, whatever it was called. But after that, it drops off real bad, man. It starts off strong and just drops off. I'm hoping this stays strong. Looks like he's trying to do the Thor Corps thing, which was a Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars type of thing, the Thor Corps. But yeah, looks like you got who? You got Thor, looks like Loki in the back, Jane Foster, we got Beta Ray Bill, Storm, so all your Thunder-related characters. I like this cover. There's a little bit too much going on with all the different characters, and you can see like the little dips in quality. It's Alex Ross, if you can't tell, and Alex Ross's covers are usually really good. So like Thor looks great, Storm looks good in the background, Beta Ray Bill looks cool, and then you kind of have Jane Foster and Loki over here who look not finished, like they're still rendering in the game. But anyway, it's a good book. If you're a Thor fan, definitely pick it up. It's a good Thor book. Oh, is this our new ROM book? I've been picking up all these ROM books. I like ROM the Space Knight, so yes. Okay, so this is cool. So we got a reprint of the original ROM, like Marvel book, and now we have a reprint of a few of the ROM and X-Men stories. I think this is like multiple stories mashed into one. So I'm excited to read it. I like Rom. I'm glad that Marvel got the rights to Rom again. We need that Marvel Legends Rom. They need to make one. You can do it. And you best not reuse Ultron pieces, because you know they will. And that's going to suck. But I want a Rom the Space Knight Marvel Legends figure. These have been fun to read. Again, I've only ever read like some of the old Marvel trades of Rom, but I've never read any of his X-Men stories that he crossed over with, so that'll be fun to read. Looking forward to that. We got X-Force number 47. Looks like Fall of X is coming to an end finally. I haven't hated Fall of X per se, but I don't think it's as great as a lot of people have kind of tried to make it out to be. I have enjoyed the X-Force part of it with Colossus. It was a very Colossus-centric storyline, and I'm always down for that. A little controversial, but in the end, it was kind of like a Bucky Winter Soldier situation. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there you go. So overall, it's been pretty solid. We'll see how it goes. Post Fall of X, Benjamin Percy has always been a pretty solid writer for me. I've enjoyed a lot of his books. His Green Arrow run is fantastic. Probably the best. Ooh, hold on. Let me figure out how I'm going to phrase this. You know what it might be? It might be Benjamin Percy's Green Arrow run might be the best of the DC Rebirth books. So yeah, we'll see how X-Force kind of ties up all the Fall of X stuff. I'm a little excited. Little bummed because it probably means we're not going to have much Colossus going forward, but Doctor Strange, number 10. Jed McKay has been taking over Doctor Strange for a while now. We're almost on a year now. Crazy how time flies like that. We're at issue 10. But it's a good book. It's a fantastic book. It's definitely going back to that Ditko, Kirby, Stan Lee kind of era of Doctor Strange versus cosmic beings, and it is awesome. It is a lot of classic B-movie, sci-fi, kind of mixed in with a little bit of Jim Starlin Marvel Marvel. What's a good way to put it? I'm trying to find a good way to put it. Like galaxy-spanning characters, not necessarily heroes of Earth, but like those kind of cosmic, Marvel cosmic, I guess you could say. But it's been pretty solid so far. I've enjoyed it. It's probably one of the, or I shouldn't say probably, it's easily one of the better books I've gotten for the past year. So definitely check it out if you're a big Doctor Strange fan. I feel like Doctor Strange is one of those characters that, like, you know who he is and you like Doctor Strange, but not very many people have read any of his stories. What is it that disturbs you, Steven? Obviously, the Disturbed story is really good. It's a little wonky because it's older, but it's still a solid story. I would highly recommend Jason Aaron's short run on Doctor Strange, where magic became like a finite resource. That was pretty cool. I've heard solid things about, is it Matt Fraction's run? No, not Matt Fraction. Who is after Jason Aaron? God, I can't remember. I've heard good things about that run, but, yeah. Okay, we got The Incredible Hulk, number 7. Philip Kennedy Johnson's been doing a pretty good job with Hulk. I feel like Johnson is the type of writer that, like, I didn't give enough of a chance to. I read some of his Captain America. I didn't like it. It wasn't my cup of tea. And then, like, I heard as it went, it got way better. Like, once it got into the Cold War stuff, it was really good. Ended up picking it up in trades, and it was pretty good. And I went ahead and started getting Hulk because I figured, okay, well, if he was able to turn it around on Captain America, maybe his Hulk could. And it has not disappointed. Is this as good as Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk? No, not by a long shot. But it continues in the spirit of a more dark, not dark, but a more serious kind of horror twist on Hulk, which I think actually works way better. Kind of digging into like the psychological horror of the Hulk. It works way better than just Hulk smash, in my opinion. So, yeah. I'd recommend it. If you're a Hulk fan, I know there's not a lot of Hulk fans out there these days, but go for it. Predator versus Wolverine. I believe this is the last issue of this series. And I have really enjoyed this series, more than I thought. Couple of things, though. One, this cover looks so off. I don't like. There's just a lot of weird things going on here. Like the hand positioning here is weird. Um, the way this kind of looks like it's going into Wolverine looks weird. Wolverine's body looks twisted in a way that should not be possible. It almost looks like his legs and ass are backwards. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, like, I don't know what. Yo, we've got some wonky covers this month, some bad ones. First that Daredevil cover, now this one, because this one had pretty good covers up until this. Predator versus Wolverine with some really cool covers, and this is not it. But either way, it's a good book. It was not structured the way I thought it would be. I thought we would get like an interesting, just like Wolverine out in the Canadian wilderness gets hunted by a predator. No, it's actually kind of a story through time. I know that's kind of weird for me to say, but yeah, check it out. You'll get what I mean when you read it. Again, Benjamin Percy, the writing's been solid, so that's why I think this works so well. I think he just gets it. He's been doing really solid on his Wolverine run, so yeah. And speaking of which, here we go. Fall of X, Wolverine. I believe we're finally fixing to get into the Sabretooth War stuff, which I'm excited for. But yeah, Wolverine, Benjamin Percy's Wolverine is interesting. I'm going to put this down for a minute because my arm is falling asleep. It's like a run that's really good if you know your Wolverine shit. If you don't have any inkling of Wolverine at all, or like you like Wolverine but you never read a comic, this is not the book to try to jump into. When I first was reading it, I realized that very quickly because I know a lot about Wolverine, so it was easy for me to kind of get into it. But I knew a lot of people who didn't know a lot about Wolverine, and they just thought it was like a muddled mess. But as it's gone on, I think now that like it's been able to kind of loosen a lot of the baggage off of the grander scheme kind of X-Men stuff, like, you know, your Jonathan Hickman Rise of X stuff and all that stuff. Now that it's kind of been able to shed that, it's been pretty good. I think it was always a good series. It's just, it was really one of those things where you had to know your Wolverine lore to get it. It was not an easy book just for a beginner to jump into, and I think that was a big complaint, because when there's a big reboot like that, you want your book to start off with a good story that can just be easily accessible. Wolverine was not that, and I think it hurt that book's reputation a little bit to start off, but I think it's bounced back really well. So, yeah, I'm excited for the Sabretooth War stuff, so hopefully we can hurry up and get to that. Immortal X-Men. This has been a pretty solid book. If you're not familiar with Immortal X-Men, it kind of deals with more of the politics of Krakoa in the X-Men. So it's like not a behind-the-scenes look, but like a backstage look at what goes on with the X-Men and Krakoa and the fights, like everybody fighting for power and all these kind of different trippy things. So I've enjoyed it. I like that type of stuff. I'm a big X-Men fan, and I think the X-Men are one of the more... they're kind of one of the characters you can do a lot of like that type of stuff with, because they're not directly connected to other Marvel pieces. You're not going to see the X-Men and Avengers all the time together or anything like that. So it works because they're kind of out on their own. So yeah, if they tried to do something like this with the Avengers, I think it would fail. And they have, like, if you go back and you remember like Dark Siege and stuff, and like Bendis's Avengers run, he tried to do a lot of weird stuff, wacky stuff like that, and it just never worked. If you're a fan of Bendis' Avengers run, sorry, not sorry. I just think Bendis is kind of a shit writer to begin with. Just my opinion. If you like him, cool. But yeah, it works though for something like the X-Men, because they're a little bit more distant and separate on their own. And then we got Ghost Rider 21. We're leading into the kind of new Ghost Rider stuff. Which I believe Benjamin Percy is going to keep writing, right? So I'll probably be down to keep going if Benjamin Percy's staying on. His Johnny Blaze story has been fantastic. Throwing a little bit of Danny Ketch here, a little bit of I'm not going to spoil. I almost said the new stuff. I'm not going to spoil it though. But check it out. It's really fun. If you're in for just a kind of, Johnny Blaze hunting monsters and demons, there you go. Benjamin Percy's got you covered. Again, Benjamin Percy. That's what, like 3 books of his I get? 3 or 4? I mean, hell. He's on a run, man. For a while there, I was getting a ton of... who was it at the time? Was it Jason Aaron? Jason Aaron was doing like a lot of stuff. He was doing like Thor and Avengers, and he had a run on something else that I was like picking up at the same time. Like, yeah. Mark Waid too, for a while there, was writing a bunch of books I was getting. But yeah. If you can't tell, I have different writers I like for certain types of characters. I think Benjamin Percy works great with these kind of action. What's a good way to put it? Kind of like these action-centric deep dives into characters, like a lot of action mixed in with a little bit of lore and history of that character. I think Benjamin Percy's great at that. I think Mark Waid is great at telling like more upbeat, old school kind of Silver Age stories. I think that's why he works so well. When he brought Daredevil back, and it was like a bit of a brighter book with I can't remember the artist now. He did Silver Surfer as well for a while. Anyway, yeah, I like different writers for different characters, different styles. That's why I think the Jason Aaron Batman story, Offworld. I know you'll notice I didn't have Offworld here. The first issue was what it was. I kind of figured it was going to be a book I wasn't going to like because I think Batman just works best when he's just the world's greatest detective. Let him do detective work. Make it Detective Comics. I don't know why DC always feels the thing to just shoehorn Batman into something crazy. And it felt very just redone. Like, okay, there's that story, which I didn't read, but it's the one where Superman's like on a gladiator planet and he becomes a gladiator and he's fighting. It's basically World War Hulk with Superman, right? Now it feels like they're kind of doing the same thing with Batman. And it's just like this weird nuance of like, DC will beat a dead horse. And it kind of boggles my mind. The exquisite corpse of Watchmen. That's all I'm going to say in defense of that. So now for our best cover. This is actually a really cool looking Ghost Rider cover. I think this kind of like, oh man. There's no, I'm just guessing that the reason his skull is not on fire is kind of an extinguished flame type of thing. If you know where the story's going, if you've been reading it. Really good cover. So that's potentially a cover of the month. No. This one's smooth as hell. This is a low-key great, like, piece of art. Maybe. I don't know. There's just something about that that's very striking. I mean, this is rough. I don't know who did this, but this is rough. Who is that? Is that John Romita Jr.? Oh, okay, now I know why. Look, at one point in time, John Romita Jr. was the man. Okay, I get that. Recent years, not so much. Same thing right now is happening to John Cassidy. There's been a lot of people bagging on John Cassidy lately, man. That's the same cover that was in the past. The Marvel Zombies covers, these have been fantastic, so that's definitely up there. Over here. I love the Alex Ross Thor covers, and I especially love that Beta Ray Bill, one of my favorite characters of all time, getting some love there. But there's a little bit too much going on that one. Rom, X-Men, pretty standard, just it's a pretty basic comic book cover. I gotta admit, I kind of like this X-Force cover, but I don't know if I like it enough that it would be like a cover of the month. Again, Alex Ross with the Doctor Strange cover. Pretty basic. A lot of his Doctor Strange covers have been weird and wacky and very Kirby-inspired, but I'm not going to go with that one this month. Hulk cover, pretty standard fare. Nothing too crazy going on there. There is something just majorly janky with this cover. Yeah, I don't know. I do like this Wolverine cover. You got like a pretty basic just Spider-Man Wolverine cover, but Wolverine like looks way better here than he does on the Predator cover. But again, it's kind of a very basic-y looking cover, so I'm not really going to go with that. And then we have the Immortal X-Men cover. The Immortal X-Men covers, much like the Cap and the Howling Commandos, like low-key, since I started getting this book, have had really good covers. Like this is no exception. This is very smooth, kind of elegant, sophisticated looking cover. That being said, as a piece, I get what they're going for. If you've read the story, then you know what they're really going for. But I don't think I'm gonna go with that one. It's a smooth cover, but I'm good. Okay, so we got zombies. We got Howling Commandos. And we got Ghost Rider. I'm going to rule out Ghost Rider. Again, smooth cover. Reminds me a lot of the Christopher Priest run on Black Adam, where those covers were like real smooth. Like, just like very well done. So solid, but I'm not going there. Oh man, I don't know. Once again, I like the idea in the Marvel Zombie stuff a lot more. But this is just like, as a art piece, like if this was a poster, it would be badass. Ooh. I like that it's like black and white, and the only thing in color is kind of like the Capwolf thing going on. Man. We might have another tie. I wasn't expecting this Capwolf cover to be this good. I'm going tie. No. I'm going Marvel Zombies. That was tough. Also, I noticed the bag on this is ripped. That sucks. But anyway, I'm gonna go with the Marvel Zombies one. It fits the aesthetic. I know this one does as well. But like, this just looks great. This is just a very well drawn cover. I like this a lot. But it's Marvel Zombies. It's a grotesque, weird, alternate take on some heroes. Like Hawkeye missing his arm. Luke Cage holding somebody's femur bone or something there. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to go with this one. Very close, though. This was an awesome looking cover. But I'm going to go with the Marvel Zombies one. So there we go. And that's it. I did not keep this under 10 minutes. I apologize. That was the goal. It was not. It did not happen. But it is what it is. And that's going to be it for this video. If you like the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. You don't have to if you not want to. But as always, I appreciate anybody who does. And I will catch you guys in the next video.